Aldridge wrote an interesting piece on NBA.com on the firing of David Blatt. Aldridge is reporting that LeBron was indeed behind his termination, while LeBron stands by the fact that he was not consulted. Aldridge writing this, quote, "The late, great Chuck Daly used to say that NBA players allow you to coach them. It is never a balanced, even relationship. It never has been. If Tim Duncan woke up one morning and wanted Coach Greg Popovich gone, he'd be gone. Players are the rare commodity. Coaches, unfortunately for them, are not." Stephen A., what will this do to LeBron's image?
Well, first things first. Let's get one thing out of the way. Anything that David Aldridge says are right, we should take seriously, because he is a guy that's been covering the NBA for many years. He's an outstanding reporter, a personal friend. I love him, and he does great work. Let's get that out the way. So he says something like that, it's to be taken seriously, because he didn't get it out of thin air. And it's not just coaching the late, great Chuck Daly, God rest his wonderful soul. It's talking to a lot of players, coaches, and beyond in the NBA who would echo those very, very sentiments. With that in mind, we understand the obvious. Please be clear. Nobody is trying to imply that LeBron James has no influence whatsoever. We all know that if LeBron James was a devout David Blatt supporter, that David Blatt would be the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's just that what people try to do is take it a step further and act like LeBron James walked in to David Griffin's office, said, "Get rid of this man. I want him gone. Damn it, do it or else." And I'm being told that there's no way on earth that LeBron James has ever done anything like that or would ever do something like that, because he doesn't want to get himself involved in such nonsense. I have said to you, Skip Bayless, that there's no way on earth that LeBron James is going to sit up there and get his name associated with such things, but he doesn't have to, because he's LeBron James, because he's universally recognized as the greatest player on the planet, because he's a two-time champion and a four-time league MVP, and the biggest box office draw this side of Steph Curry you can now find in the NBA, and that's been the case for several years. You know that he has a level of cachet that is undeniable. So if he's not happy, it ain't hard for David Griffin or anybody else to figure that out. With that being said, I don't think we can ignore the stain that comes along with this for LeBron, and here's why. Because when Rick Carlisle is lamenting that David Blatt was fired, when Eric Spoelstra, LeBron's coach in Miami, is lamenting David Blatt's firing, along with many, many other coaches, including our very own Jeff Van Gundy, who does an outstanding job for us here with ABC and ESPN. Keep in mind, they are coming to the defense of the coaching fraternity, which is going to ultimately elevate and proliferate questions about, indeed, why is Blatt gone? Because of what Chuck Daly was quoted as saying back in the day, the reality is that LeBron James is going to be stained. Now, does that mean that you don't want to coach him? There ain't a coach alive that don't want to coach LeBron James. Does that mean you're not going to watch him? There isn't a basketball fan alive that doesn't want to watch LeBron James play. What it does mean, however, is that he's not going to be able to just walk away with this universal belief that he had absolutely, positively nothing to do with it whatsoever, because nobody's going to believe that. But in defense of LeBron James, he absolutely, positively said he does not care. Not to mention the fact that it's not like he didn't comment and said he doesn't care. He emphatically and specifically stated what he did not do. So what he's saying he doesn't care about in the end is what people believe compared to what he verbalized was the truth. That's all he can do. And I don't blame him for having that mentality. If you're going to sit down and answer a question with the media present, with the cameras rolling, and you tell everybody, look, I did not do this. Now, what you believe is your business. That's all he can do. Because to allow anything more than that to transpire is to give folks control over his life, and they don't deserve that level of control. But he is a superstar. All superstars have impact on their team, particularly as it pertains to who is coaching them, unless you're Eric Spoelstra in Miami, that you have Pat Riley protecting you. Something like that would be different. But outside of that, every coach is at the mercy of, you know, their superstar player. And by the way, they beat Minnesota last night, Skip. As an aside, I know they're 14-32, but Andrew Wiggins, Karl Anthony Towns, Zach LaVine, Minnesota's got a nice young nucleus of players right now. They've competed in every game but 3 this year. They got a bright future. I like what I'm seeing.
Now we're doing a T-Wolves topic. Okay.
Just
I got
for
it.
saying that.
I'm with you.
I know there would be no other reason to bring up the team.
Okay, fair enough. Okay,
Gotcha.
back to the question. I also like and respect David Aldridge very much, but what he wrote, to me, well reported, was just so obvious. It's what I said yesterday. Yes, we all know LeBron had some input here. Did he walk in and say, fire him? No, I don't think he did that. But was his opinion sought by somebody? Maybe not David Griffin. Maybe it was the owner. Maybe it was somebody else. Did the owner go to one of LeBron's inner circle? Who knows? You could do it a lot of ways where David Griffin could say, nope, I did not directly ask LeBron his opinion of this matter. Okay, here's my 2 cents on the fallout. What if LeBron James had just stepped up to the mic the first day and just openly embraced this concept, gently embraced it by just saying, yeah, they asked my 2 cents, and I said, I believe that right now, Tyronn Lue would be a better fit for our team than a David Blatt, who was hired before I came home, and David was hired more to coach a young developmental team, and we became something completely different as we brought in Kevin Love and myself with Kyrie. That would be a very fair thing to say, and I would have zero problem with it. I don't think you would have a big problem with it either.
I would not.
If we go back, and this is well before some of our viewers were even born, but once upon a time, the great Magic Johnson decided that Paul Westhead just was not the right fit for that potentially great Showtime Lakers team. And we know what happened. They elevated Pat Riley. The rest is NBA history. Okay, I can't quite remember, but my memory tells me that Magic pretty much openly embraced that. Yes, he had input into that. Did anybody condemn Magic Johnson? No, I don't think they did. Did they?
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember that. I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I guess after a while you couldn't condemn him because it started to click with an unproven at that point Pat Riley, had gone from broadcaster to assistant to obviously head coach. Okay. My point is, back to LeBron, I don't think you would have condemned LeBron for taking some
Not at all.
Not credit, but just that, yes, I had some input into this decision. Because to me, LeBron distances himself from this because he doesn't want to add any pressure. Like, he doesn't want to be known as the coach killer or coach firer. And ultimately, I think he realized that in some ways David Blatt was good for LeBron because David Blatt gave LeBron an occasional excuse. Because it was, I think you and I, much more quickly, we would leap to say, well, that's David Blatt's fault, not just LeBron's fault, right? So maybe LeBron fears that if it's his head coach, who's now the head coach, that more pressure, more onus, more focus will be on LeBron instead of on the seat that used to be occupied by David Blatt. So maybe he's trying to stay away from that new added pressure here that Ty Lue is his guy.
Well, Skip, let me say this, a couple of things. I got on you at the top of the show. Let me give you a compliment here from the perspective that keep in mind that you can't measure what you would do. Like, for example, when you brought up Magic Johnson, because you're a contrarian who usually has the courage to stand alone and say what you feel when everybody else is on the other side. And back in the day, you may not have said anything about Magic Johnson, but there were a whole bunch of people. Magic Johnson took a lot of hit for what happened to Paul Westhead because people were just appalled that a player had that kind of clout and exercised it. And Magic Johnson was unapologetic about it. It only subsided when Pat Riley stepped in there and you could see that they were winning and they were on the verge of championships. That was the reason why. But it was a tough go for a short period of time, which Magic Johnson would confirm for you. That's point number one. Back to LeBron. Let's understand something here. No, it would not have been a problem if LeBron James had spoken up. But we live in a different age, Skip. That's more than 30 years ago. Now you've got the advent of social media and beyond. You've got the blogosphere. You've got everybody getting opinions, and more importantly, of influencing the opinions of the fourth estate, meaning the journalism industry. You got bloggers writing about something in USA Today or the Washington Post, or somebody else picking it up and writing a blog themselves based on the stuff that's been put out there by a blogger. So when you have that kind of stuff going on, you have to be more cognizant of it now than you ever had to worry about it being back then. So LeBron James, who obviously is practically a social media savant himself, because this dude's got millions upon millions of followers on Twitter and beyond, he knows what he's doing, and he knows what not to do based on his brand, etc. So you got to take that into consideration. Then you also got to take into consideration the fact that if you were never high on the man coming there to begin with, but then you came out and involved and got yourself involved in this decision that David Griffin says was his and his alone, then what happens is that now you look at David Blatt and his entire tenure and you question whether or not that was sabotage because they weren't all in from the time that David Blatt arrived. So if you're LeBron James, you've got to deal with that reality too. And then last but not least, also keep in mind Miami. Why is Miami important? Because their first year, the big three, D-Wade, LeBron, Chris Bosh, their first year when they went to the final, Skip, and lost in 6 games to Dallas, like Cleveland lost in 6 games to Golden State last year, what did D-Wade say? He said after that season, not before, not during, after that season, as we reflected on the first year, I realized that I had to step back because LeBron is better than me, and we're trying to win championships, and we go where he takes us. I can help, but it's no longer Wade County, it's LeBron. And I have to defer in order for us to be at our best. So what's the problem with Cleveland? You got in today's Cleveland papers where you're talking about Tyronn Lue before he coached Saturday night against the Bulls, looking at a Kevin Love, looking at a Kyrie Irving in front of the team and talking about when we win together, and everybody's brand elevates. Back in the day, you didn't have to worry about that, but you had to worry about that with this team. So guess what? We have to make sacrifices. And even though LeBron says he's the leader and he's supposed to be the leader, how bought in was Kyrie and Kevin Love? And that's what Tyronn Lue was questioning. So he's saying we got to change things a little bit to be all in with LeBron. All of those things matter.
All right, so bottom line, I don't think LeBron's image will take any hits here.
I don't believe it should.
Okay.
Stephen A., we're looking forward to your interview with Tyronn Lue later today. And Blatt, reportedly a candidate for the Nets head coaching job. And speaking of New York, a man who spent a little QT there, Antonio Pierce in the house. So yesterday, our Super Bowl pick board, Mike Singletary, made his pick, going with his former teammate, Ron Rivera's squad. You going Carolina too?
Well, I'm going defense.
So what does that mean? They both picked defense.
They're pretty good. This one was really impressive Sunday. But they're on fire.
Yeah,
they're on fire.
They are.
They're on fire.
Skip calls it the year of Cam.
The guy that's doing this and dabbing, he's pretty good too.
He's having fun. Yeah, he is. Antonio's with us when we come back.